Hey, if you've been thinking about checking out recreational cannabis in Monroe County, stop thinking and start visiting my buds over at MJ Dispensary. They were the first recreational cannabis destination in the county. That's right, the OG spot. And trust me, they know their stuff. I was at their summer event, and I was blown away by how educated and on top of it their bud tenders are. I mean, these aren't just people handing you a bag. They're like the Google of cannabis, but way friendlier and without the pop-up ads. Whether you're looking for edibles, vapes, concentrates, pre-rolls, or just something that helps you relax, sleep, or deal with pain, MJ Dispensary has it all. And the best part, they'll guide you so you don't leave looking like you just picked random snacks at 3 a.m. Now, maybe you're in it for the fun side. Maybe you're in it for the wellness side. It doesn't matter. They've got you covered. And here's a bonus. Delivery. That's right. From Monday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m., and even on Sundays from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m., they'll bring the goods right to your door and no judgment if you're in their pajamas. Oh. So do yourself a favor. Head over to MJ Dispensary, 900 Jefferson Road, Suite 902 in Henrietta, or check them out online at mjdispensary585.com.
When your old career gives you lemons, throw in some ice, mix in some vodka, and call it a podcast. From the Mac of All Trades studio in Fairport and driven by Victor Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, it's Billified, the Bill Moran Podcast.
Well, hello and welcome. Thanks for getting your pot on. Thanks for telling a friend. How are we feeling today? Started out gloomy the day we're taping this, and then the sun came out, so hopefully that's an omen for good things to come. Yesterday, I asked Greg Connors to join me to talk Buffalo Bills, and one of the reasons, Greg, was you popped in my mind. A neighbor had, I hope you don't mind me saying this, had a Maserati delivered. And I go,
I love it.
Yeah. Every time I see you, anytime I see a Maserati, I always sing Joe Walsh's song, Life's Been Good. My Maserati does 185. Yeah, life's been good.
I love it.
But before we get into the Bills stuff, I hope I'm not getting too deep or even too personal on some things, but I know you had another loss in your family recently, and my condolences for that. And I know that you lost your dad years ago. I got to tell you, man, I've been having a day today.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I've been having a fucking day, like just sad, and I can't figure out why. And I go, yeah, I think I know why. It's just, and the only reason I bring it up is I think it's something that's never really talked about, especially by dudes.
Yeah.
I don't know
my dad's identical twin. My Uncle George passed away a couple weeks ago. We just had the service this past weekend. My dad passed away 25 years ago. And, you know, I think I had mentioned to you one time after your dad had passed away that it doesn't go away. Life fills in the gaps. But there are moments and there are times where it just reaches up and just kind of smacks you a little bit. And for me, those times are often when I would turn to him, when I would reach out to him. Whether it be something with my kids that, I would look for guidance for, if it was something at work I just wanted to bitch to somebody about that nobody would, that I could do that and you would understand where I was coming from. And, just even dealing with some family things. It's, those are the days for me, and the moments where, you just get reminded that he's not a phone call away.
Right. And I think for me, it's the, even the academic stuff, going back to school now. And I had to write a reflection paper, and I'm like, I probably would have sent it to him to get his opinion, although he would take over, which would always annoy me. But at the same time, it was like I would bounce those ideas or those, because, a lot of what I'm doing is actually philosophically based. I mean, if you go through, the mental health counseling stuff, there's a lot of Nietzsche and others. And I was like, God, I just wish he was there. And it was like a little, I don't want to say a gut punch today, but a little bit of a ooh. And, it just was weird. And I thought, man, there's not many people that I think ever talk about that. And I don't know how you I don't know how you deal with it. I think the best way to deal with anything as I get older is to just recognize the emotion that's there, sit with it, let it pass, don't react to it, don't overreact to it, no matter what it is, and allow yourself to maybe be sad or enjoy the memory, or try to enjoy the memory.
Yeah, and I always try to keep my dad in the top of my mind and talk about him all the time. It helps me, and it keeps him close, and it keeps the memory going. And but yeah, it's good to recognize it, and not to remember I am who I am today because of him.
Yeah,
and a lot of other people who I've unfortunately lost recently. Jennifer lost her grandmother, who was 100 years old,
I'm sorry.
like 3 weeks ago, and she was just a treasure. She was just this wonderful, sweet, kind person. And, I'll always remember that. And I try to be that way myself because of her.
Yeah, it is interesting when you see people who had such an impact and you go, boy, that was the way to live. That's the way to do it. That's the way. All right, on to the subject at hand, the Buffalo Bills. I mean, there were people saying that they thought they would drop this game as well, and I was not one of them. I happened to be at some online yesterday, seeing some people saying that it was they're a second half team. Don't worry about this. Someone asking if they should bet, and I'm thinking they just did not look like they had their shit together.
So as we talk about mental health, when I woke up this morning, Bill, I had to say to myself, I'm going to have a good day.
Okay.
Today is going to be a good day. I had to say it. And I said it to myself like 5 times until I convinced myself that I was going to have a good day.
Mm-hmm.
Because last night's performance put me in a really bad mood.
Yeah. Greg, I did not watch the fourth quarter. And I did not read purposely anything today because I knew I'd be talking to you, and I knew you would have some really great, insightful thoughts on this, and I didn't want them to be, I don't know, I wanted to come at it fresh, but I just even feel like offensively, what's going on with Coleman? He can't get separation. The guy it's like, come on.
Well, for me, this game, I thought the Bills were going to win this game. I thought the Patriots game was a scare for me before they played the game, just because they're the Patriots, and Vrabel's got a familiarity with the Bills, and he's beaten the Bills with Tennessee. This game, I knew the Falcons had a good defense. I knew the Falcons rushed the quarterback and blitzed, for the defense going into this game than any other team in the NFL. I thought that Joe Brady was going to be better prepared with an offensive scheme and play calling, that the Bills wouldn't have been on their heels and then forced Josh to make the decisions that he made. That's the thing that's most troubling for me. I mean, look, your point about Keon. Yeah, that's Keon. But that's been Keon's knock his entire career. Keon does not get separation on the ground. Keon gets separation in the air. So the one thing I was so excited about with Josh and Keon in the preseason at Fisher was that how all the balls that Josh was throwing Keon were above his shoulder pads into the air. He makes those catches. He's going to win that 9 out of 10 times. A couple of throws yesterday, particularly the one on fourth down, he throws to him, it was in the ground. Keon's not going to catch that ball down low like that. That's just not in his skill set. And he's not going to run a pass route and get separation off the turn like that unless it's a high ball. So those are the things for me. I didn't see Josh do that yesterday. Everybody has a bad day. I'm just really frustrated with Joe Brady's play design and his play calling. And I'm hoping and hopeful that for the next 2 weeks, that playbook that makes it easier for Josh. Andy Reid is probably one of the best play designers in the history of the NFL. And when you listen to Andy Reid talk about how he likes to design his plays, I'd like Brady to get to this. And just a simple point. He likes to have the play on 1/3 or 1/2 of the field. So Mahomes has a litany of options. So he tries to bring Mahomes to the right or to the left side of the field, and then he floods those zones on that side with 3 different levels, or get out of bounds or run. Josh doesn't have that. He doesn't have any deep threats. I didn't see Josh have the opportunity with the hot routes when they were running crazy blitzes at him throughout. He did get Dawson Knox in that first possession. He threw a great ball to him for a touchdown, but I'm just not seeing that evolution with this offensive play design and play calling. These defenses know them now. They know they can get after them, and that they've got to force Josh to make quick reads. That's what they did last year. That's what Kansas City did to him last year in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
It's the frustration because of the potential. Look, Bill, it comes down to this in life, right? Everything in life is based on expectations. If you expect your team to be successful and win the game, and they do, you're great. You're happy.
Right.
If you didn't expect them to win, and then they win, you're happy. But when you expect something to happen and then it doesn't, that's disappointment and frustration, which many of us as the Bills Mafia, I'm sure, are experiencing today.
Yeah, and you woke up this morning and it was like cloudy and gray, and you just wanted to curl up in bed. It is interesting how the performance of a team, a sports team, can really affect the psyche, I'll say, of a city or an area.
100%. 110%, which is why when I woke up this morning, I said to myself, I'm going to have a good day. I'm going to have a good day. Today is going to be a good day. And it is. It's sunny out. I'm talking to you.
Yes.
It's a good day.
But what about defensively? I mean, it just seems, I don't know if it's more the injuries, or are we waiting for some players to come back? What is happening there? Because it just, I mean, they couldn't stop the run, it felt like last night at times.
Yeah, well, I mean, Bijan Robinson he's the biggest and the brightest new offensive talent in the NFL. And, us playing them this last week, last night, with the way the defense has been decimated, one, by either people who have been required to sit out, which I think would have helped against the run, and injuries, and then Ed Oliver comes back last night, and he makes mental mistake after mental mistake. And that does not win games. That is an uncustomary type of team or just that McDermott has coached. And the defense, I mean, look, this defense is not built to win games against the Derrick Henrys. It's built to beat the Patrick Mahomes types.
Right.
And with Penix did just enough last night with London and Bijan to really pick apart and dissect what is a weak secondary, and our defensive front couldn't get to Penix quick enough in order to disrupt them in their rhythm. And that's a concern.
It is a concern. Where do we see things, or like in your opinion, from here? And I know you sort of mentioned this, but it dropped out, because do they have is there a bye next week?
Yeah, this week, their next game is in Carolina on October 26th.
Okay.
So next week they have a bye, and then they travel to Carolina to play on Sunday, October 26th, which is Buffalo South.
Yes.
Spending some time down there in North Carolina. This is the Bills-Panthers game is the hottest ticket in North Carolina in 2025, including when UNC played Duke in basketball. It's all the rave. And now the Carolina Panthers are playing decent football.
Yep. But that does seem like a winnable game for them, and then it's on to Kansas City, correct? Or Kansas City comes to Buffalo.
Yeah. I mean, on all accounts, you would have thought that this would be a nice warm-up game for Buffalo. The Panthers game would be a nice warm-up game before Kansas City came into town. We might have one loss underneath our belt. Having two now going to Carolina, I don't want to say it's a must-win because it's early in the season, but it's a must-win. The offense has to get some mojo. They only scored 14 points. I mean, you're not going to win games in the NFL scoring 14 points. We turned the ball over 3 times against the Patriots. You're not going to turn the ball over 3 times. We turned the ball over twice last night, and we only scored 14 points. There's not a chance. You can't even beat the Jets doing that.
Maybe.
Oh, no.
So, I mean, your gut feeling on the rest of the season, things that are correctable, a bye week kind of coming at the right time, possibly. I mean, coming off a loss, maybe it helps you regroup. I do worry about kind of the head. You know what I mean? The mental space that they're in. Just that, here we go again. And I don't know, with professional athletes, and certainly they have, sports psychologists and things to get them through all that. But it's something where I feel like this break is maybe coming at the right time.
Yeah, I mean, you're only as good as your last performance. And, I always would want to be going into a break with positivity, positive thoughts, positive feelings, positive outcomes. It does I think the positive of this is giving the team some adversity and some humility, which if you build on it and you grow from it, you're going to be better, you're going to be stronger. I think every manager, every coach the ones that are the best take the talent they have and they put the talent in the best positions possible to be successful. I have not necessarily seen that with respect to the offense as much this year as I had in years past. Now, can you say, how can Joe Brady, forget so much or become so dumb from one year to the next? And a lot of it truly is the talent that he has around him. Is he not calling the plays? Is he not putting the people that are there talent-wise in the right positions? Because if that's the case, then that's a Brandon Beane and a McDermott decision-making thing in terms of assessing of talent. The defense for me, you draft the kid in the first round who's supposed to give you speed, who's supposed to tighten up the secondary, and then you bring in Tre'Davious White back to give you some veteran leadership with depth.
Right.
And Harrison hasn't even, not only is he not playing, he hasn't even had the experience of being on the field since training camp, which was almost 10 weeks ago. And it's like, can this kid even make it back this year? And can he contribute before December and getting into January and make an impact? So those are the things as I look at the team moving forward into Carolina is, they got to get their mojo back. The bottom line is you got to stop turning the ball over. It's fundamental football, Bill. Don't turn the ball over. Don't commit stupid penalties. The first play of the game, Ed Oliver's offsides by a mile and they fumble. I mean, come on, Ed. Those are the things as a coach, as a manager, you're just like, what the frick is wrong with you?
Well, I mean, it goes back when you start talking about the coaching, I feel like we're going to start hearing McDermott has taken the team as far as he can take them. And I don't know where your mind is at with that statement, but it seems to come up more and more, and especially around the playoffs, right? If they get to the championship game and they don't advance to the Super Bowl, or if they get to the divisional series game and don't advance to the championship, which has happened, there is that rumbling underneath. I don't know what you kind of feel about that or how you feel about that.
Well, I mean, me with McDermott is I've always thought when it comes into the game management, early in his career, I thought that he did not do that well. I think he is better at it now.
Right.
I do think that the errors that the Bills have made the last 2 weeks are correctable. Because to me, it's discipline and it's a mindset. And that to me is what coaching is. And so McDermott, this may be one of the more challenging of McDermott's coaching careers, of his coaching years, because there is an expectation now.
Mm-hmm.
He's come in and taken a team and got them disciplined, corrected those types of mistakes, but the expectations were lower. The mindset of the players was a little more humble than what I think it is right now. And Josh candidly played better.
Yeah.
It didn't look like Josh was having fun anymore. He did when they're winning. He did when it's earlier. And this has been my knock on Josh. He almost gets he takes himself too seriously. He's got to go out there and just play football. Have fun at it. Play it for the game that it's at. He gets paid a lot of money for it. That means he should have that much more fun. I think right now he's put that much more pressure on himself because he feels the weight of the Bills Mafia. He's got to discard that, and he's got to begin to have fun again, because that's what's going to get us. Him playing loose, him playing fun, him playing with energy, him getting everything going and trusting his instincts rather than this remote, mindset of mind manipulation of don't do this, don't do that. He's just got to go out there and just be him and have fun playing the game.
How many of us, though, have been in that situation where you start to question things in your own head, and you underperform, right? Because you're now almost blocking instead of just being in the zone or in the flow, and that's a problem. And I would think for Josh, it's got to be a huge head game right now. The guy is in more commercials than I've ever seen. It's got to be a head game for him where the popularity has risen that now – it isn't just a team expectation, it's a Josh expectation. And that's got to be really hard, because I don't think that that's necessarily like an ego thing where you would go, he's got a huge ego. No, this is like there's a huge expectation, not of just this team, but of me to deliver this team.
100%.
Yeah,
but that's Josh. Hard. I mean, that's who he is. That's what's so redeeming and endearing about him, is that he actually cares. I mean, I right now he's beating himself up. He's beating himself up because he feels like he let his team down. But this is the type of guy, as a person of who he is, he's feeling the way because he feels like he's let me down. He feels like he's let you down. He feels like he's let the entire community of the Bills Mafia down. And that is what unfortunately begins to weigh on you. And then you start thinking, and then bad thoughts get in your head, and then bad things happen. Look, the power of your mind is so critical and so important in terms of outcomes. If you think positively, and golf is one of these things, you don't think about the pond that's in front of you. You just think about the green. The more you think about the pond, the more you're going in the pond.
Yeah, right.
In life, that's like I said when I woke up this morning. It's like, I'm going to have a good day. Why? Because there's so much negative energy. There's so much, disappointment that goes around, that you get caught up in it, and it becomes, almost like a self-prophecy, because then your mood is affected, and then you're not quite as energetic, then you're not quite as positive, and then you look at something that happens, and then you look at it in a negative way, as opposed to like accepting it or being able to deal with it. You're going to spiral down, and that to me is what I don't want. What I unfortunately think the Bills have gotten into in these last 2 weeks, because look, this team's tradition has been about getting so close and failing. One of the reasons why I think people are so critical of McDermott is because he's gotten close and he's failed. Look, Bill, we spent 20 years in utter chaos of mediocrity that we couldn't even make the playoffs.
Right.
And now we make the playoffs.
Right.
Now expectations change.
Yes.
There you go. I mean, look, Mike Tomlin has not had a losing record in 20 years or 15 years or something with the Steelers. And now look at them. Now they're 4-1.
Right.
It's like, I don't think I think Mike Tomlin, and he's won a Super Bowl.
Yes.
So for McDermott, to answer your question after a long diatribe, I still have confidence in McDermott. I still think McDermott is a good coach. I do think McDermott will win a Super Bowl. I just hope he does it with the Buffalo Bills.
I hope he does it with the Buffalo Bills as well. I think that well said, Greg. Always well said. And you're on your way to the is it the Queen City? Buffalo's the Queen City.
It is.
Yes, the Queen
It is
City.
the Queen City.
All right. Well,
Yes.
we'll wrap it up there because I have I'm back in college, so to speak, master's level work, but I have a group project that I really. I mean, the people in the group go, "Hey, you remind me of my dad." I've gotten that from two young ladies. I don't.
And then in your response was, your dad must be an energetic, good-looking, fun, and funny guy.
All I said was, I did not say that because that would be, but I said, oh, your dad's got to be pretty cool then.
Yeah.
That's all I said because I honestly don't know what to say sometimes because it's a whole new world. Not a whole new world. That's not fair to say. It's different today, right? And I don't know where. I don't want to step on a landmine that I'm unaware of, if you know what I'm saying, verbally.
Yeah. I mean, look, I have a tremendous amount of respect for you. There's always about, for me, it's always about learning and for you to challenge yourself, in an academic environment where things are not the same as they were when we originally went through that experience is enlightening. And I think it will enrich your life and enrich the lives of those that you're around and that you continue to educate on your podcast and everything else that you do.
Well, that is true. And I will tell you the biggest thing, because this came up quick. It was like a Saturday I got a call and classes started on Tuesday. And so I decided to do it. And one of the reasons I really did was my son, Jameson. And I like bringing him to campus because I want him to see what is possible. And sometimes I think, I would always say I wasn't a big pusher of the education as my family was, more of as long as you have a motor to do something. Like Jackson academics may not have been his strength, but he certainly got a motor to go and be successful. Great. Everybody's different. But with Jameson, I like him seeing that, and he's asked to come now. So okay. So we seem to be checking that box. Now the question is, what did I get myself into as I'm writing reflection papers and reading nonstop? I go, man, hey, you bring the dog to the office? Look at the dog back there.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, both of them. Wow, they didn't even make a peep.
And I got Ox.
That's lovely. All right. Well, thank you, Greg, for your time. I appreciate it. And go Bills.
Yeah, sorry about any drops along
No,
the way.
we'll make it work.
There, I apologize for that, but yeah, it's always great to talk with you. Can't wait to get back in the studio and see it. And by the way, the intro into your podcast is my favorite of all time, and because I actually try to live my life that way.
Yeah,
life gives you lemon. Throw a little vodka in it, and
that's
have a good day.
That's right, exactly. That is exactly right. And Kevin wrote that one actually. So, God, hats off to Kevin.
I'm glad he finally wrote something that was pretty good.
All right, for Greg Connors, for the dogs. Wait, Ox and who?
Ox and Gigi.
Gigi. For Ox and Gigi, I'm Bill Moran. Thank you, Greg. We'll see you
Go Bills.
Tomorrow. Fall is here, the air's crisp, the coffee's pumpkined, and your ride, well, it's still squeaking like a haunted house. Time to drive into fall at Victor Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram on Route 96 in Victor, where they've got deals hotter than your neighbor's bonfire. Right now, you can lease a new 2025 Jeep Compass Limited 4x4 for just $269 a month for 24 months. That's right. Get into something safe, stylish, and way more reliable than your cousin's Trust Me, It'll Make It car. Or maybe you're the adventurous type. How about the 2025 Jeep Wrangler 4-door Sport S 4x4? Lease it for just $319 a month for 36 months. Perfect for leaf peeping, apple picking, or making an epic grocery store entrance. Need something with muscle? Grab the 2025 Ram 1500 Bighorn Crew Cab 4x4, just $299 a month for 42 months because hauling, towing, and looking awesome are kind of what it does. All leases come with first payment, DMV taxes and fees due at signing, $2,500 cash or trade, and lease loyalty required. Miles vary, so, don't drive to, like, Alaska. So whether you're conquering trails, jobs, or the school drop-off lane, Victor Chrysler Dodge Jeep Rams Drive Into Fall event has your perfect ride. See them today on Route 96 in Victor, or hit them up online at victorcdjr.com. Because this fall, the only thing you should be falling for is a brand new ride.